the evidence. I know there's clearly more evidence to come, but I will say that based on what I saw in the video, this is the decision that I am making. Obviously, as not a prosecutor myself.
Having talked to Mike Freeman, is he open to this idea?
I have relayed my call to action to the Hennepin County Attorney, Mike Freeman, yes.
What do you want to see this officer charged with specifically?
I want to see a charge take place. I want to see justice for George Floyd, and me commenting on either the evidence, obviously much of which is not out yet, and or a specific charge would inhibit that measure. So again, I want to see the charge of the arresting officer take place, but if we want to see that charge, it would not be wise for me to provide the specifics of a form of murder. Yes, I will. My apologies.
Mayor, multiple council members have raised questions about the way police reacted to the protest last night. Where and what role did you play in determining how police responded to them?
Thank you for the question. The question from Liz was, what role did I play in responding to the protests that were occurring last night? And I'd like to speak a little more broadly about this as well. So, right now more than ever, I get the need to protest. I fully understand and appreciate it. People need a way to vent, especially in a time of so much sorrow and anger. And I'm not a parent yet, but I will be soon. And I can't begin to grasp the mix of emotions, of anger, of sadness that so many parents of black children have through our city, what they must feel in putting their
but they need to arrest that man
child to bed. Without knowing what cards they will be dealt and not knowing how their safety might be put at risk. And nobody out there will fight harder for the First Amendment protections and freedom of speech than I will. Nobody will fight harder for those rights to protest than I will. But those rights, they must stop when others' public safety are put at risk. The cars and the buildings that were broken into in some form,
burnt up,
had live guns and ammo in them. And I spoke with our Chief Arredondo last night, who is an exceptional leader in our black community and known as an exceptional chief nationwide. And he told me that he could not run the risk of one tragedy leading to another. Our chief made the decision, and I support our chief. I trust his judgment. And there's an inherent tension, there's an inherent problem in this world of sound bites, where those who are protesting peacefully get lumped in with those that are not. Where those who are policing compassionately get lumped in with those who are not. And by the way, I want to commend the 99% of protesters that were there last night doing so in a peaceful manner. And we need to be straightforward. We need to be straightforward and honest with people 100% of the time. We need to continue to be calling on our better angels, especially during this time where one crisis is sandwiched in on another. I'm committed to doing that. Next question.
No mayor has ever publicly called on a prosecutor to bring criminal charges against a police officer, at least here in Minneapolis. What went through your mind? What went into this decision to come up here and do what you do?
The question was that stated that no mayor has ever publicly called for the prosecution of one of his or her own officers before, at least in, he said, in our state. And the question is, what went into that decision? I mentioned earlier that there are protocols, there is guidance, there's precedent that is almost instilled in the walls of these institutions like city government as if it were mortar. And so many of those protocols say that you shouldn't act quick. You shouldn't make a decisive decision. You shouldn't speak out. And they'll give you 1,000 reasons why that guidance is given. But there was one question in my mind that I could not answer. If I'm tasked with being honest with people, which I do promise to be, how could I argue? How could I not speak out when an offense took place that you or I or many other people through our city would have been behind bars if they did?
Yeah. Hello.
Yet this particular individual, this officer, was not.
Exactly. Mind-boggling. Nope. Arrest him.
I could not answer that question, and because of that, I felt I had to speak out. And by the way, black men have been put in prison before for far, far less.
Amen.
One of the early police reports from the scene described some fighting, that he resisted arrest. Have you seen any evidence that has been borne out? Obviously, we've seen the videos from surveillance cameras and Darnella Frazier. We haven't seen anything that would suggest any resistance. Have you seen any at all in any of the evidence you've seen?
The question is whether I have seen evidence that
That man deserved to be murdered.
George Floyd resisted arrest in some form. I have not seen any evidence to show that, no. I have not seen any evidence beyond what you've seen.
And the other question is a $20 counterfeit bill, I've been told by sources, wouldn't even get you booked into jail right now because of COVID-19. Can you explain the heavy presence at that specific grocery store at that specific time, why police felt so compelled to keep that quote-unquote suspect there?
The question was, I'll try to repeat what you said. It seems that a counterfeit bill would not require such heavy police presence, and why was there such heavy police presence there at the time? And no, I do not know. I cannot speak to that.
When can we expect to see the body camera footage from the officers? When will that be released publicly?
I'd like to release it as soon as is possible, while not compromising the investigation, but more importantly, the charge that I do hope will come forward. The investigation itself is in the hands of the BCA right now, and actually there are other investigative bodies as well, the FBI being one of them. We're looking at the legal logistics of how exactly that would work, but again, we want to be as transparent as possible. There's every reason to provide the public with the truth. There's also every reason to make sure that this investigation takes place in a way where we can get to a charging decision as soon as possible.
Local authorities to charge the officer. Are you taking a position on how federal investigators should handle their portion of this?